We're back with some more Godforge. Now, I'm actually really excited for this video because this is the first time that I'll be taking a look at a lot of the champions. I've seen a couple here and there, but I have not seen a vast majority of them. Now, the cool thing is that for those of you guys that don't know, this game is entailing and has a lot of gods in them. And I come from a game called Dislight, which had a ton of gods. It was literally all about gods. And of course, its own varying take. But I'm really excited to see like the different takes and how they tackled each of these different gods. So we're going to dive right into it, starting off with Anubis. Okay. Now, Anubis, this is the textures for Anubis. Now, I want to actually take a moment to zoom in so we can actually appreciate, okay, this take on Anubis. I feel like this is a very sick take. So the cool thing is that I feel like typically for a lot of Anubis models that I typically see, I would say like out of a lot of mythologies, Egyptian mythology, and between Egyptian and Greek are like two of my top favorites. This is definitely an interesting take because a lot of Anubises that I typically see usually don't have the armor on them, right? Like there's usually like the upper like chest armor, and then they like tend to show like, you know, the abs, they'll show the arms and all that jazz. But I like the fact that this Anubis seems very armored. Like, again, I think a lot of people don't realize like the context of Anubis and the type of deity that he essentially was. So it's really interesting to see this take. I think that it's a very different approach. Looks like he's wearing like enemies' flesh as armor, which is kind of insane. The hands are very fleshly. So with that though, you still see that there's a sense of royalty because of all of the like the plattered gold, like his jawline being painted gold. You know, you still have that traditional Anubis look. I feel like the skin texturing and all of that stuff is done perfectly. And that's something that is like really, really well done here. I'm not gonna lie. And for those of you guys that also don't know, I'm an artist too. So that's something that I was like kind of looking, I'm like, dude, this is amazing artwork. And just the layering. I think that that's another thing that they did extremely well here. You have Anubis with a hood. That's another really interesting take too. I love the hood. But again, the neck piece, one of the things that's like a predominant thing for Anubis is he has an extremely long neck. And you still get to see some of that with the visibility of the, I forgot what this is called, but I guess it's like basically like the neck decor, right? So it's really, really well done. I feel like they did an excellent job with that, even down to the Ankh, I think it's called. It looks like that is here right on the belt, and that's kind of bringing everything together. You still have some of that like woven, kind of like torn, tattered material too. So this is really good. I think that this is a extremely well done model. Now, I can't see the weapon at all, so I don't know what weapon they decided to go with for Anubis, but I'm not gonna lie, I can see him with a damn greatsword, which would be like insane, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, that's how cool he looks. And they just topped it all off with the shoulder pads, with the freaking, like, hounds. Like, that's so insane with them bleeding. Like, that is a excellent touch, and I just don't feel like it's overdone. I feel like they just did an extremely good job. The back artwork is really sick too. Like, look at that, right? Like, this is like insane. So they cooked on this 1000%. I love this design. This might end up being one of my favorite characters. This is only the first character, right? So let's go back. So next we have Aphrodite. Now, I'm actually really interested in this one because I think one thing that's going to be a major selling point, right? Because let's be honest here, people love their, you know, husbandos, their favorite waifus, and this is giving waifu vibes, okay? Now, the thing about this, like, I feel like this is a really, really nice touch. This is a very pleasant looking character. And I think that there's like the very minute details are like some of the most important things. Like, for example, when I look at a character, some of the things that I look at is like, you know, the very, very attentive to details to give you a clear indication of like what type of character this, or what type of person that this character could be, essentially, right? So when we're taking a look at Aphrodite, I mean, obviously we can't zoom in more than this, but if you look at like her skin, for example, she has a lot of like glitter, right? So it kind of goes to show like this essence of like, you know, just essentially like, you know, femininity, and just essentially like she's just very like soft, obviously just some, she's like well kept, and again, of course, making sense to the god that she is, it, I guess, makes sense, right? so of course with that, they did a really good job with, you know, just again, the layering, right? I think it's really cool that they decide to kind of go with like the, like, I guess like kind of the half, kind of like skirt on the side. And then like the rose, like, and I'm not gonna lie, this is a very sick touch. The rose, like, kind of like embroidering on the, legs, right? So for the shoes, like that's like really insane. Like that's really, really insane detail. And I just feel like overall, it's still a tasteful character. Even though she is showing skin, it's still tasteful, right? And I mean, granted, they'll probably have a ton of other characters depending on the depiction of the god that they are, that are gonna be probably a little bit more revealing. But I feel like this is a really, really good take on Aphrodite. I feel like they just did this extremely well. So I can't wait to see what they do with some more of the female characters in the game, because I do feel like those are a lot of times huge selling points depending on how the gacha is. I mean, right now for the current gaming climate, like, dude, the waifus are going crazy right now, and the husbandos are actually doing pretty well too. So, you know, don't be afraid to have Hercules with a shirt off or something. But either way, very nicely done, very nicely, or very nice design. So let's go back. Let's see who else we got here. We got Artemis. Okay, so it looks like, is this loading? I don't know. Okay, I don't think the picture is here, so I guess we'll have to come back to that. All right, so let's see. Brazilian. Let's see. Okay, so this is the archer. Now, you know what this is kind of giving me? This is, so she's from Avalon. But I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of giving me, I don't know why it's like Game of Thronesy. Like, and not even Games of Thrones. Maybe a little bit more Lord of the Rings. I don't know. Like maybe, like, I don't know if it's the way the armor looks, but this actually looks like a pretty sick character. This looks like this would be like a starter character, for example. This very simple, like, and that is okay. I think that sometimes, like, some of the coolest characters for me, like from some of my favorite games. Have you ever heard of a game called like Air of Light? There was a character named, I think Sigurd, or Sigrid, or whatever his name was. But he was a 4-star archer. And he was like very simple. Leather armor, just had the hood on. And that character was like one of the best characters in the game. He was a super fun character. So design, I think for me, can also be a thing to coincide with a really well done kit. And honestly, sometimes even supersedes the kit, you know, even, you know, won't supersede the kit, because sometimes having a really insane kit just kind of makes it like, hey, listen, I don't care how basic this unit is one-tapping everything, right? So I feel like they did a pretty solid job with that, because I think that, like, you want certain levels of complexity to the units that typically people are going to, like, be trying to aim for or trying to get, you know, when it comes down to like summoning and things of that nature. I think that that's like definitely something that you want to always have in these types of games, is a reason for people to go for something like, right? Like imagine like if everything just looked good, it would definitely be a lot harder to try to get, you know, us to try to pull, right? Like, and so that's what I typically look for when we're talking about being able to summon or get new units, is how cool the new unit looks and coinciding, you know, or in conjunction with their kit. So I actually like this. I actually like this quite a bit. And that's just because, again, I think it just kind of gives you that workup. And then don't let this character have a broken kit. I would be using this character to the ends of time. So that's just like basically that for me. Again, nothing too out of the way, but there are those like things that it seems like they're trying to work out in terms of still having some form of like complexity, definitely texture, right? I think there's a big play here on texture. You see it with like the rope wrapped around the bow. You see it on the plaited leather. Like this is obviously like a lighter armor. So that of course makes more sense. This seems like a character that's supposed to be more agile. So that's really huge, right? I think that they did a really good job on that. And I also kind of like how too each of the characters' facial designs, like the characters actually look like actual people, like to a degree. Like obviously it's like, you know, 3D rendering here, but like still they look like people, which is still really cool. So I think they did a really, really good job with this one as well. Now going into the next one here, we have Brynhild. And Brynhild, sorry, there we go. Now this character, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like they actually did a pretty solid job. I wish I could see like the backing, like the back of the armor and stuff like that. But with what we're able to see, this looks like a pretty freaking cool character. And I feel like again, they created something where it's kind of like their own take, which is good, right? The shield, and still to some degree still staying true to like original like takes on this character. The shield and the spear obviously look really sick. Of course, I would definitely say like a lot of these characters too, being able to see like what they do in combat is going to take the look to a whole nother level, because just that's like kind of that whole spiel, like having a good looking character that also has good looking animations. Like that's something that I'm like, dude, when we get to that point, it is going to be absolutely insane. And we're already starting to get to that, right? We're already starting to see, I think Simon just teased, you know, one of the characters doing, and I think it might have been King Arthur maybe, doing an animation. And that was something that was so sick. Now, with a lot of the gold-plated armor, like I would say the chest, the shoulders, really well done. I will say too, the fur. Right? I think the fur is something that also is kind of giving that extra layer of kind of identifying where this unit is. And even when you kind of pay attention to the background, it's kind of like this frigid, kind of frozen like area. So you're kind of getting more of that with that like attention to detail, right? So it's like, you know, all of that is kind of indicating, you know, even if you didn't know the name or who this was, you could kind of get some of those context clues, which I think are really big deals, right? So really nice on that. Let's see who we have next. We have here the composite bowman. Okay, why does he look like okay? I'm not gonna. Okay, so hold on. First of all, can we just talk about the unit diversity here? I was talking about waifus. Look what they got going on with the husbandos, dude. This is the bowman. What the heck? Like, okay. So I'm not gonna lie, I feel like, and this is the same feeling I had when I originally was, you know, when I first started Dislight, right? Which I mentioned earlier in the video was a God game. The thing about that game that really drew me into it was the unique aspects to it. Like the fact that I felt like they created a universe based off of something that already existed, brought all these mythologies together, but then they created, you know, some forms of diversity that fit their game. And the cool thing is that the way they did it was more of like an urban kind of ordeal. What I really appreciate about this game is that we're kind of seeing that, but it's still playing into the original feel and like, you know, still giving us the gods themselves. Whereas it was more of like a power of gods in Dislight, like they had the power of them. This is actually the gods themselves. So I really appreciate this design. Like this is insane looking. Like this dude looks like he's out fighting. Like this is the type of stuff I live for. Like he looks like he's outside and he would be hiding in like the dunes somewhere, and he just comes from up under the dunes, and he's like, and then you just got a giant arrow through your chest, right? Like he just like, he looks like he does some Assassin's Creed type stuff. And this is a really sick design. I'm not gonna lie, this guy looks insane. Like this looks so sick. And I really like how they, again, very simple, like just very simple. Cause sometimes like less is more. And that's something that I feel like can work in these types of situations here. You still have like that, the wrapping around the arms, the legs. And then, of course, it's like you still have this sense of like, I don't know, it's kind of like tie-in like, in a way, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like an air, like the way that the clothing kind of comes together, and specifically this, it's like a green. I don't know what, like it's like a forest green. Like it's a really interesting touch. But then to top it all off, it's the traditional beading, which is like insane around the neck. So it's like all these different like textures and layerings that like just really make something that's, again, he doesn't have crazy armor, or like even the bow isn't like anything that's super crazy, but I'm like, dude, I would still use this unit. Like that's absolutely insane. So they did an excellent job on this unit. I'm not gonna lie, they actually cooked on this unit like pretty hard. So okay, this might be one of my favorites outside of Anubis, not gonna lie. All right, so we have Jerry. Now, oh, this is pretty cool. Okay, so it looks like we are going to be getting some animal units. I'm actually pretty hyped about that, because like familiars and stuff like that, pretty sick. This looks really good though. This definitely looks really good. Now, I wish we could have got like the full body so that we could see like what the paws look like, all of that jazz. But honestly, for what this is worth, this looks pretty solid. I definitely will say that that's going to be the biggest thing. Being able to see like what other units like Fenrir, oh my God, dude, there's so many other, like animal like entities or deities or gods that exist that they could really play into, and I'm for it. Like I'm for it. I feel like that is also like really cool too, to kind of have as like potential playable characters. Like I can see this type of character having some sort of like maybe bleed, or it kind of reminds me of like even like it's kind of like I guess kind of I think of like Air of Light again, like with the Dunkelhounds, where like those are essentially like really good farmer units. So like there's definitely a lot that they could do with these types of units. I think the Jade with the gold chest piece, really nice touch. And then of course like just the head drape, right? Like it's actually like really nice. Like I think that that's actually a really nice touch too. And so yeah, I'm interested to see the full body, because it looks like towards the back here we're starting to get some of the fur. It looks icicle-y, right? Like I don't know, like so getting that full body would be really sick, but that looks really solid nonetheless. That looks very solid. All right, so let's go back here. All right, who else do we have? We have the Green Knight. Okay. Ooh. Okay. The Green Knight is kind of giving me, This is an interesting design. This is sick, actually. It's like weird because he's giving like sentinel, like a sentinel, like guardian. Right? Like one of those dudes that's like inside of like a temple, and you walk in because you're not supposed to be there, and like he's sitting there with a sword like this, and he lifts it up and then he starts swinging at you. And it's like this is the type of stuff that I'm like, dude, this is going to go crazy. Like this design is really well done. And it's really cool because you can kind of get that, right? Like there's obviously some tying to the earth. You see that in the chest piece in the very middle. You still have this like level of seriousness. Like there's, you can kind of tell that in the face mask, right? Or in the helmet, where you're kind of getting that like protector, like I said, sentinel vibe. The armor, very clean. And then of course, like the sword, dude, the sword looks sick. Like that looks so insane. So there's a lot of things that's going on with this. I really like the like attention to detail, like the again, the like very earthy kind of ordeal when you're talking about like the design of the armor. It's just really well done. I feel like they actually are like really thinking about how they want you to feel when you see these characters. The other thing is too is kind of like the tattered cape, right? And that kind of, again, is showing some age, kind of giving you a little bit of an idea of the setting or where this person might exist. I don't know, again, if it's like more like, like the Sentinel, or if this is an actual knight. Again, really, really sick. I'm actually like super stoked because these designs are looking really good. Now we have Hippolyta. Let me see who. Oh, okay. I'm not mad. Okay. Let's see what we got here. So, okay. Not bad at all. So this is actually pretty good. This is actually pretty good. What I like though is they did something a little bit different with this character than the other characters. They actually have raised markings and tattoos on her. What I appreciate about this, right, is that they didn't just give her tattoos, but they did it in a way to where you could kind of almost tell it was done in a traditional manner. I think a lot of people don't like realize that like tattooing today in today's society is a lot different than like tribal tattoos or how they used to do them like way back when. They used to do a lot of different things. So basically what they do usually a lot of the times is there's like in certain like tribes and stuff, there's actually someone that's manually doing it with like a stick or something. It's like heated up with like some sort of charcoal or it depends depending on like what group of people it is. But the layer of like, or the raising of the skin is very different when you get those tattoos. And it's because of the process a lot of the times. And a lot of the times they look very clean. So I kind of can appreciate that. You see that on the leg, which is really sick. And that like entire design is sick, but you also get that on the stomach too. So it's definitely like, showing again, some of that traditional nature to this character, which I think is really sick. The other thing is too, is kind of like a little bit more of that, like, it seems like a little bit more gladiator-esque. You still got that layering over the top part of the chest with that gold plating, and then the fur coming over the shoulders, and then of course you have the strapping going around the neck, which is pretty sick. You can also tell that she's a warrior. She has like this like healed what is it called, scarring that's like raised up as well. That's obviously from some sort of beast. It also could be for some swords, who knows, right? But again, really sick detailing, and I like I call them the buff waifus. One of my favorite units from my other game that I play is Gabby, and she was supposed to be the representation of, I think, Njord? I can't remember which goddess she was supposed to be, but either way, buff waifu, right? So yeah, I'm really interested to see her weapon. And of course, it looks like they decide to go with like some sort of fur for the caping, which looks really good. And actually not even fur, it looks like a kind of tattered leather. So it looks good. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, so let's see who else we got here. All right, so we got Icarus as well. This is, man. Okay. Okay. The designs are just getting better here. I like this. Now, honestly, this is like, again, one of those things where I'm like, I want to see what he does, right? So we actually got some notes here, which is pretty cool. So this is how he looks with them on. We'll keep them covering his forehead. So I guess that's with the, I guess, what is this? This is the sunglasses. So, interesting. And what's really cool is I'm wondering, how are they going to have the arrows on him? Like, are the arrows inside of the sash going to actually be on fire still? That's so sick. I'm not gonna lie, if they somehow figure out a way for it to look cool while it's on him and the arrows just be lit on fire already, oh man, that would be so sick. And even in the bow, you have the arrowhead lit up, which is kind of insane. So the arrow is imbued with Apollo's power. And so it burns like the sun, which is, again, that's a really nice touch. They kept this kind of almost like, I don't want to like say like, because what they did with this design is they have him looking a little earthly, right? Like, and what I mean by that is like, it says Icarus exploration. So it looks like he actually is out and about in the world and not just in like a higher area, like say like, for example, probably like a Zeus, right? Or I'm trying to think of like a angel deity. I can't think of her name right now, but like you could tell like this individual isn't like sitting in one place, sitting in a nice chair, eating a nice meal all day. he has like these like dirt markings, like stuff is happening, right? Like he's traveling, he's going through stuff. So it's really, really well done with how they presented this. The wings look really sick. Of course, being able to see this in like the in game would be, of course, even sicker. Do the wings expand? Are they just going to stay in? Is he going to be flying when he does moves with, you know, like it's a lot of different things that you can get from this. And I would even say like even down to the layering. Again, that's one of the things they seem to do extremely well with these characters is the layering. Really well done. You're getting a lot of different textures here. And of course, like I said, you're still seeing like he's strong. And you know, like that's something that I feel like, again, with each character, they also have like their own identity and they look like people, which is really cool. So really, really sick design. Now, okay, let's see who else we have here. So let's go back. We have Amenhotep. Why does that sound familiar? Because that's me. That's why. It's like, so yeah, I mean, hey, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, right? So I mean, I actually like really had fun doing this picture. You know, like trying on this outfit. No, I'm kidding. But honestly, very, very sick what they did. It looks like there's a scarab on his head. Honestly, very traditional. I don't know like what the potential rarity of this character could be. A potential lower rarity, I could see that. Looks like there's some swords on the back as well. This is definitely one of the characters which I ironically, even though he is bald like me, I will say this is definitely one of the characters that does seem a little bit less significant. It doesn't necessarily mean that's a bad thing though. Again, there's like going to be the rarities. This looks like this could potentially be some sort of support and could possibly be a very, very good unit, because keep in mind, a lot of these games, a lot of the times will typically have those lower rarities still being god tier or being able to carry people through all the way up until in game. So I'm not really too concerned with like the character being viable. I'm just saying, just purely off of the looks, this does seem like one of those characters that's at like the lower end. But again, it's still very clean and still really well done with the textures and things of that nature that they decide to go with. Now, is it a favorite? Not necessarily for me, but I think it is still a well done character. So, okay, let's see who else we have here. We have King Arthur. Okay. I like this. Now, you know what's actually kind of interesting? I like I like this take with King Arthur. He's kind of giving more of like I'm a fortress vibe. The giant shield is definitely different. Slim sword with giant shield. That's definitely a different take. Heavy armor, which is really interesting to see. This is definitely like more of an aged King Arthur. Usually I see like the King Arthur, he'll have like a, you know, just it's like a long blade. Really not too many shield wielding King Arthurs that I've seen, but I like this one. And I'm kind of wondering if he's going to be a tank in the game. Is he just going to be a damage dealer? Like, I'm actually pretty interested in that, because this looks like a unit that would just be kind of meta or ridiculous for stuff. The lion on the chest, of course, really sick. The heavy armor, for what we're able to see, looks really sick. Of course, you have the crown. The shield, I like the fact that it looks like a castle gate. And it's like already halfway down, which is like really sick attention to detail. They did a really good job with this one. I feel like, again, the impact is going to be huge for this character, because I feel like that's definitely where it's going to be at. Like if he's shield slapping or blocking stuff or hitting hard with the sword, that's going to really make a difference for how people feel about this character, in my opinion. I feel like that impact is going to be everything. So again, really, really nice design though. Very, very nice design for this character. So, all right, let's see who else we have. I know we got a couple more that we can take a look at. We have Konoichi. Okay, I like this. Oh, you know what though? This is kind of interesting, because the thing about this is that this is kind of like with the face mask, is giving like that Oni vibe, which is super huge, right? Especially when we're talking about like, you know, just that like Japanese mythology and stuff like that. Yeah, the Oni like face mask, super huge. Love that touch. She looks like she's supposed to be an agile character. I'm not gonna lie, it's giving a lot of Mortal Kombat vibes, which I'm not mad at. But again, very, very, very clean design, very simple. I think that, you know, I'm really interested in seeing some other units from this specific faction, because this definitely seems like maybe 3-star, 4-star, possibly. She definitely, of course, like I said, has a lot of that like agility appeal. Even when we're looking at like, I'm assuming those are kunais in her hand. I'm not really 100% sure just because I can't see the tail end of them. But either way, you can kind of tell like that she's an up close and personal combat style. Or she throws them. She could throw them, right? Like she could be like dagger throwing. So I don't know. Like it's definitely a, you know, mixed feeling there on the weapon type. But very light armor, which the armor does look light, which it fits the character, right? So I think that that actually looks really good too. Now let's go back here. Let's see who else we got. Oh, Leonidas. Okay, so let's see. Okay, Leonidas is giving Leonidas vibes, okay? What I will say that I like here, I usually see a lot of Leonidases with one weapon. I like the fact that he has two. I'm not gonna lie. They gave him the Spartan sword and the shield, and then he has a shield on his back. I'm just hoping. Make him a stance changer, please. Like, let him be able to swap between the two or something. Like, that would be so sick. But this design looks sick. I think that this is a really, really cool, you know, like, I would say take on Leonidas. I think that, again, instead of going with gold, they went with silver, which I think is also a really nice take, because it makes it unique in your own. I usually see, like, and I always feel like I always see a lot of Leonidases with full send gold, like gold helmet, gold armor, gold gauntlets. I like the fact that you kind of still get that warrior kind of vibe with the marking of the three markings in the on the chest, and then of course like the leather red cape, staying kind of traditional there, which I like, and then of course the shield on the back. Gotta have the Spartan shield, man. So I think they actually did really, really well with this design. Definitely depicts the unit, and what I feel like it's really obvious if someone did not see the name, they could guess who this is, right? Like I think that is also really important. So really, really well done. Now, of course, let's see what else we got here. So we got a few more. Okay, so we have Musashi. So let's see. Okay, Musashi. Okay, so that was what I was saying. I feel like so he's from the Kojiki. He looks really good. I'm not gonna lie. His design looks really sick, and I like it a lot because I'm like wondering too if at any point, if he wears a hat. I like the double sword vibe that's, you know, going backwards. Definitely looking very true to like some of that samurai appeal. But still, again, their own take. The fur coming across. I don't know if that's like into a bag or if that's like kind of going into the hilt for the swords. But either way, he's not heavy in armor. But you can tell like there's definitely some sort of like mastery to him. He's kind of giving like a I don't want to say Tsukiyomi, but like Masamune vibe in a way, right? So like I really feel like this is like really, really slick. He looks really, really, really sick. Like I'm not gonna lie, like this looks really good. Now the front part, I can't really tell too much what that is. It looks like there's some sort of chaining happening there. But again, it's all coming together. The color palette that they use for him, actually really sick. And again, the character looks like its own character, which I think I can appreciate, which is really, really cool. Now, of course, who else we got? Odin. Okay, so let's see. Okay, Odin. Odin is looking like an Odin, okay? What I actually can say I kind of like here is they seem to be trying to kind of go with like this, like, not too traditional, but still giving like some of that vibe to correlate the unit, which is really sick. Odin kind of has, which is a really interesting take, like this like crow shoulder pads with the raven feathers coming down. I guess that is kind of like some age there. And those might even be ravens. Those might even be ravens now I'm thinking about it. But yeah, you kind of get some age from that. Then of course, like Odin's face being covered with the horns, very traditional. I love that. Then of course you have the spear, or the halberd, which is kind of giving like an icy vibe, which is really interesting. Like really interesting. So I'm intrigued to see like, is it going to be like Odin, you know, throwing you know, like some electricity. Like, what is he going to be doing? Is it going to be more of like a frigid ability? Like, I'm really interested to see what the take is on the actual abilities, because this Odin looks like more so like war torn, like he's in the middle of something versus like he's just sitting and enjoying prosperity. So this is like something that I feel like is a really interesting take. I actually like this one quite a bit too. So very interesting take on Odin. Now let's see who else we got here. We got Queen Nefertiti. Okay. Okay. Hey, listen. I gotta say, you guys are killing these Egyptian characters. Not gonna lie. I think you guys are doing a really good job. So Queen Nefertiti, very straightforward. And this is a pretty predominant character. I feel like that gets mentioned, but not really ever shown too much in too many God games. So I'm actually pretty excited that they're depicting her. Very feminine compared to some of the other female characters that we've seen, like the Muscle Mass, right? Like you can tell that she's not one of those like I'm, you know, slugging around giant swords and throwing grown men. She's definitely, you know, look like she's more of a spellcaster, which is like really cool. Again, you want different, like I would say, like having different body types and just like different styles of characters is also important. Like everybody doesn't need to be buff, right? I will say though, the layering, right? The traditional clothing that they have on her, really sick. It's really well done. I will say too, if that's going to be her staff or wand that she uses, it looks really sick as well. I just like the appeal, how everything is just kind of feeling like very true to its origin, right? Like even if it is their own take on it, it still feels very true to their own origin, which I actually like. I appreciate that a lot. So very cool take. And she actually looks really good. Like she looks pretty. Like, dude, this is a really tasteful character. Like, what the heck? Like, this is really well done. So, okay, let's go back. Now, let's see here. We got Ra. Let's see what we got for, oh, man. Okay. Here we go. We're back on the God tierness here, for real. Now, I'm wondering if these are, like, just potential ideas for the weapon, or does the head of the weapon or the weapon itself change doing different stuff? This is a good take on Ra. Not gonna lie. I really like will say like there's like, I don't know, like the takes for the Egyptian characters are insane. Dude, like Ra looks insane. Like even having the helmet with this, like what the heck, dude, with the sun in that, like that's insane. So I would say with the correlations of the weapon, the color layout, this is a insane looking character. Not gonna lie. And what I like too is that they kind of gave him, it's almost like a mechie vibe in a way. Like it's like really weird. He looks, again, kind of like that Sentinel, like Guardian feel. Really sick with how they approached this and did this. Again, another thing that I could like deeply appreciate. Now, when we're talking about like just the overall aesthetic and vibe, I think that they definitely, you know, of course, tying this into the character and the animation is just going to be huge. Being able to see the sun and like how that ability plays, like, is it going to do something with that? It's flame, fire type, like all that stuff. Like, I'm really stoked to see that. So that's going to be huge. But Ra looks good. All right, so we got Ramses. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is actually kind of funny because, like I said earlier in the first video, I was like, this is me. I guess there's a few characters that look like me. I actually like this character. The gold-plated armor is really sick. Very well done. Like, this is super sick. And I actually feel like, dude, like, the texture, again, the face, very chiseled, like super sick, man. And then the cool thing is that, like, again, you kind of get that sense of royalty here. You got like the red jewels kind of tying everything together. Of course, like I said, the helmet is really sick as well. And then of course, like the, you know, you kind of can see like the padding and like the I guess if you want to call it like tunic in a way, it's kind of made in a way where you're able to see like it's made for like movement and for combat. So it's really, really well done. I will say that with this character, I wish I could see more of the weapon. That would be really nice because then I could kind of get the full aesthetic, but everything looks solid though. Like it's just really sick with the concepts that they have for this game already. All right, so we got the Fisher King. Whoa. Okay, this dude looks demented. This is kind of giving me some of Elden Ring vibes, Dark Souls, a little bit of Bloodborne. Like this guy looks super demented, but he looks really good. And even with just this concept, like I like the layering for him. He looks super heavy. He looks like he moves slow, but when you make him mad, he just will move fast out of nowhere and slap you with a giant sword or something. So like this guy looks really sick. And I really like this take because this looks like somebody that like traded their lives for power or something. Like he looks like a demented king, basically, which is like kind of what I would say is like really cool to kind of have mixed in with all of these different gods and all these different vibes. I feel like most of the stuff has been like pretty vibrant for the most part or very aged. This guy just looks demented. So I like this quite a bit. I like this quite a bit. So these designs are all really fire so far. So we got Yuan. So ooh. Like no. Like not at all. I don't think I was ready for this one. Okay, so we gotta have ugly units. You know, I do have this bias with ugly units. Like I just shy for them, but they're usually good though. So I'm not gonna lie. Like yeah, he's probably really good. Not really too much that we can see, but you can definitely tell that he's probably like, I don't know if I don't want to say, he's definitely looking more Oni. Right? Like kind of like a spirit, maybe. I'm not really too sure. Definitely disgusting looking. If that's what they're going for, then they definitely executed that pretty well. But yeah, I'm like, again, not a fan of the ugly characters. But again, I feel like for the overall design, putting all bias to the side, this character actually does look really good. The thing is too, is that like they're really like, again, like I said, the blood, the dementedness. This guy looks like, I mean, he obviously can't see, but probably can see you. Like, it's a lot that goes into this. But again, I wish I could see more of the character so I could see like the layering, like the clothing and, you know, just like what potentially is influencing the character, right? But other than that, it looks pretty solid. So let's go back and we're on our last one. One of the big ones I would say is Zeus. Ooh. This one, I'm not gonna lie, I like a lot more than the Odin. And I think it's just because like the weapon, the armor, the way that his garments are floating, like it's like he looks sick. The layering form, he looks like he's royal, he's like he sits, you know, on the throne, but he also looks like at any moment he's willing to come down and throw that spear through your head, right? Like he looks like a really sick freaking god that he is. But I do like the more earthy tones, right? I think that also kind of gives more of that we're in the middle of a war versus like, again, we're sitting in prosperity. So I do like the earthy tones that they added. And this is actually making me like really excited to see characters like Hades or Poseidon or, you know, like some other predominant gods that I know are probably going to end up in this game. So with that, I would say for what we have, all in all, rating all of this, I would say we got a solid 8 out of 10 on character designs. I just don't see like any of the designs that were like, ooh, they could have just did this better. Like, no, I actually like what they're doing for the characters. Again, because we don't have any idea of the rarities, that also makes it a little bit harder to kind of gauge like, okay, is this like more of like an intentional thing or not? But I feel like overall, the characters look super good. I'm really impressed with what they've done so far. But again, guys, Let me know what you guys think. How are you guys feeling with the character design, some of them that we have seen? Do you feel like, you know, there's some more that could be done? You know, do you feel like they're good? Are there other elements that you guys would like to see outside of like some of the textures and layering, you know, to correlate more, or, you know, just to, I would say, be valuable for the development team that's, you know, making the concepts for the characters? Let me know and let them know in the comment section down below. Everyone, I appreciate you guys for coming through, watching this video. It's been fun. And for subscribing to the channel. Welcome to the channel, guys, for all you guys that are new here. But everyone, stay blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.